Donald Trump playing with the media today on who he's choosing to endorse. Conflicting reports out saying he'd be endorsing Gingrich and then Romney, finally landing on the former Massachusetts governor. Take a listen to this.
Mitt is tough, he's smart, he's sharp. He's not going to allow bad things to continue to happen to this country that we all love. So, Governor Romney, go out and get him. You can do it.
So the Donald backing Mitt, what does it mean for Romney? Recent polls show 64% of GOP voters don't care. And 20% say it would give them more of a reason to oppose the candidate than to support him, so it could backfire. Time to bring out the panel. Carol Roth is a business expert and best-selling author in Chicago. Guy Benson is the political editor for townhall.com in D.C. And Gretchen Hamill is the director of public notice, also in D.C. Carol, let's start with you. I mean, the reaction to me from GOP voters in this poll was the best part of it. They don't care.
Yeah, Jerry, I'm pretty sure in living rooms all over this country, people were having conversations like, if we just knew who Donald Trump and Kim Kardashian and Snooki were voting for, then we would figure this whole race out. Look, the only person this matters to is Donald Trump. This is great PR for him. He's backing the right candidate. Romney's a business guy. He's a business guy. So more TV appearances and more sound bites for the Donald. A hat tip to Mr. Trump. And no, that is not a hair joke.
So, Guy, tell me, did the Donald wait until there was a clear leader?
He might have. I think that today we saw a couple interesting things. I was surprised, frankly, that Mitt Romney and his wife appeared on stage with Donald Trump. I think in some ways Trump is sort of an embarrassing character with his birtherism stuff. He's not really even a conservative or a Republican. But if you want to look at some tactical maneuvering here, there was an outside chance, almost a threat, to use the word that you hinted at before, Jerry, that he might run as a third-party candidate, Trump, that is. This forecloses that possibility. It slams that door shut. And you can't ignore that if a guy has billions of dollars at his disposal. Now that's out of the way. And I think Mitt Romney made this as short and sweet as possible. Still probably not his campaign's finest moment today.
Fascinating stuff. Gretchen, what do you say?
Well, you know, going back to that question that you asked, did he do this, you know, after there was a clear winner? He did this when he knew there was a clear winner, but also early enough that he can take credit for it. But at the end of the day, the majority of Americans, they don't care about endorsements anymore, but I think they would. I would argue that they would care about who Snooki voted for. Yeah, she made a big difference saying something about McCain.
Maybe in New Jersey. Maybe in New Jersey.
Maybe. She could be turnout girl.
All right,
she's
let's talk
not
about
from New Jersey.
Oh, well, okay. But she's on the show about New Jersey.
I know, but I'm a native New Jerseyan, and I just have to point out, point of fact, Snooki is not from New Jersey.
You're not claiming her. That's what's going on there. Let's talk about Newt. Let's continue our political conversation. He's up in arms over his delegates in the Sunshine State. This story drives me crazy. It was winner take all in the Florida primaries. As you probably know, Romney was supposed to get all 50 delegates by winning it. But Newt's fighting the system, claiming he deserves some of these delegates. Guy, does he have a chance in a snowstorm in anywhere you know of getting these?
Well, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not really sure how close he's going to come, but the odds are very much stacked against him. First of all, the state of Florida made it very clear it's a winner-take-all state, which is actually rare this time around for the Republicans. A lot of the states in this primary are proportional, not Florida. And then the Republican National Committee, which would be the place where Gingrich would go for recourse, they said they're not going to get on board. They're not going to back him in this endeavor. And the one other point I'll make, Jerry, is, look, Gingrich lost Florida, and then all of a sudden he was upset about the rules. I think maybe he would have a stronger case to build on here if he was drawing attention to this before he got thumped by Mitt Romney by 12 points, 14 points.
Good point. Gretch, what do you say?
Newt needs to get back to what Newt does best, and that's to talk about ideas, to talk about policy, and to give historical context to the situation America's in. This getting down in the mud, getting down in the snake pit with people, and being petty about stuff, it's not working for him, and it's a big turnoff.
Good point. Carol, what do you say?
Yeah, I completely agree with both Gretchen and Guy. I mean, this is just Newt being Newt, right? He's wily. He's trying to do something here, but he's going in the wrong direction. Nobody wants somebody who's president of the United States to be somebody who plays dirty. He brought this up after the fact, and he's trying to do all these things, but it's just not working for him, Jerry.
All right, well, let's talk about the House voting to extend the freeze on federal workers' salaries for another year. This coming after the CBO's report earlier this week showing government workers make 16% more than their private sector counterparts. Gretchen, should we really be cutting their pay instead?
Well, you have to ask that question. We've frozen budgets before, we've frozen federal pay before, and here we are, we're still $15 trillion in debt. So we know just a flat-out freeze doesn't work. We have to cut, and we have to cut somewhere. But whether it's these salaries or whether it's agency budgets, cuts have to be made.
Carol, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think it's a very interesting tactic here. I mean, if you think about Congress, they were the ones turning the attention to the banks. Oh, the bad banks, you know, they're doing all these things, and now they're giving themselves pay raises. Well, what about the track record of Congress? They haven't done so well. We're in debt. We're going to continue to be in debt. We've got a $1.1 trillion deficit to look forward to in 2012. I think that they need to step up here and take a cut.
Wow, that's a challenge. Guy, what do you say?
Well, I think the important thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that President Obama, in his forthcoming budget, is actually going to propose a pay increase for federal workers. So the Republicans aren't even talking about cutting salaries. And by the way, I had my salary cut a few years ago when media companies and private sector companies were tightening belts from coast to coast. We're just talking about a freeze here for federal employees who are it would freeze them at a level, as you mentioned, already above their private sector counterparts. And this president, while trying to tax job creators, wants to now give pay increases to federal workers who, you know, love them or hate them, they don't create any wealth in and of themselves. So the priorities here are tremendously perverse.
Well, nicely said. Nicely said, all of you. Carol, Guy, and Gretchen, good job as always. Great to have you guys on board today.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.